bundle the papers over to you.
Well, I have to apologize because, you know, I'm not a Malabite, but I will do my very best. I will do my best. So we're starting, as always, with This Day, Nigeria's newspaper of record, according to Mr. Ifeni. APC state chairman demands immediate conduct of Congress's convention. Party extends membership registration revalidation by 3 weeks. Above the masthead, OPEC allies agreed to ease all production curbs, transparency influenced financing deal for refinery rehabilitation, says NNPC. Federal government, Nigerians without NIN risk 14-year jail term. Shun agents of disunity, Buhari urges Nigerians. Lawan preaches peace, love and tolerance. Air Force chief relocates to Borno to oversee fighter jets recovery. Now to the Nigerian News Direct. Nigerians without NIN risk 14 years jail. That's Pantami there, which I'm sure will be a common, thread throughout all the dailies today. The Punch now. Federal government threatens NARD as doctors begin strike after agreement. If you don't agree, you don't sign an agreement, Ngige tells doctors. Federal government proposals not new. Resident doctors. Hospitals reject non-emergency cases. Resident doctors are foot soldiers. Strike will affect hospitals, says director. Above the Punch masthead, external reserves lost $178 million in March, CBN. INEC targets 20 million new voters. Registration begins June 28th. Bandits invade Niger Joint Forces camp, kill 7, abduct 10. Nigerians without NIN risk 14-year imprisonment, Minister Pantami. Again, APC bows to pressure, extends registration by 3 weeks. That's another main story today. The Guardian. Doctors' strike paralyzes hospitals. Patients groan. Hospitals expel, reject patients. NARD says members unlikely to call off strike soon. Congress to decide next line of action, says federal government assurances not concrete despite signing agreements. And the picture here, which I cannot overlook, we have our Nobel laureate, Professor Wale Soyinka, looking rather fetching here in his leopard Amotekun getup. And this was at the launch in Abeokuta yesterday, and he's their corps commander. And this is Special Marshal. Thank you. I mean, they just look great. I need one of those. WHO Africa CDC warned of COVID-19 surge as Christians mark Easter. Religious leaders anticipate large crowds at second pandemic Easter. Fare hike, fleet scarcity hit Easter air travelers. Don't let mischief mongers divide this country, Buhari tells Nigerians. Lawan Group admonished Nigerians to exhibit love, hope and tolerance. Police tighten security in states. Now to the Daily Sun, very quickly. Phone users without NIN to spend 14 years in jail. FG rules out lifting ban on new SIM registration. Nigerians fault moves. Ebonyi massacre. We won't tolerate this. Vows in Wayawu. Ohaneze, Southeast governors to meet. Shango will strike you if you misuse your uniform. Soyinka warns Amoteku Corps. Oh dear. So we'll take a short break and we'll be back with more on the newspaper. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We're still on the newspaper review, and you guys are still having to make do with me. Sorry. So the Nigerian Tribune, why those without NIN risk imprisonment? Federal government. Above the masthead, rice traders protest as customs raid over 88 shops at midnight in Ibadan. U.S. report on Lekki shooting stirs fresh debate. Kayamo, Buhari's aide, Sanwo-Olu spokesperson, others react. Names of dead, amputated Lekki protesters to be released soon. Falana, we stand by our report. Amnesty International. And I'll just move on now to the New Telegraph. Discordant tunes as Minister INEC differ on NIN's primacy. We won't make it mandatory for voter registration, Yakubu. Transacting business without NIN, criminal, Pantami. Ban on new SIMs, cripples vehicle tracking businesses, others. That's above the masthead. SEC OK CEO's appointment for demutualized NSE. And Njigbo calls for governors Ohaneze security meeting regarding herdsmen attacks. Daily Independent. Move to bridge metering gap runs into Hitch. Discos consumers trade blame over metering. Those yet to obtain NIN risk 14 years imprisonment, federal government, as predicted. That's on most of today's front pages. The leadership. Hospitals turn back patients as resident doctors begin strike. Consultant nurses attend to emergency cases. Doctors in state hospitals shun strike. My attack, politically motivated, Soludo vows to go ahead with governorship ambition. Now to the Vanguard. Bandits hit Niger again, kill 6 soldiers, policemen, raise security base, abduct 15 villagers as residents flee en masse. 1 killed as gunmen attack ex-minister's residence in Plateau. Apapa gridlock. Lagos Union's parley ends in deadlock. Mayhem continues. That's above the Vanguard masthead, as is. Doctors begin nationwide strike despite agreement with federal government. Digital switchover. Federal government to rake in $1 billion from spectrum sale. Lai Mohammed. No office is worth even the blood of a chicken. That is Charles Soludo. Killings, Ohaneze Adebanjo, others react. A southern youth ask killer herders to quit region. No plan to lift ban on new SIM registration, federal government. Set to extend NIN registration, 51 million Nigerians so far enrolled in NIN. Don't trample on people's rights, Shoyinka warns Amotekun Corps. NAF Alpha Jet loses radar contact in Borno, whereabouts unknown. And that's it for the newspapers, guys.
Yeah, very quickly, well, if we still have a little time to comment, these shootings, these attacks on prominent Nigerians. The other day, it was the former central bank governor, Charles Soludo, who, in fact, after the attack, had to go into hiding. 3 policemen were killed. Now, this day today is reporting on page 43 that bandits also on Wednesday evening attacked the home of former minister Damishi Sango. Damishi Sango was Minister of Sports, and in the process, 3 persons were also killed. So all these attacks are becoming coordinated and quite frightening. And again, that draws our attention to the fact that nobody in Nigeria is safe. Whether you're a former minister or a former central bank governor, or you are just an ordinary citizen. And that explains why many states of the Federation, many groups in the country, non-state actors and state actors, are making an effort to resort to self-help. Now, you cited the story of Ogun State yesterday, where the Amotekun was, launched. We had, Professor Wole Soyinka, the Nobel laureate, a very prominent Ogun State citizen, lending his support, offering useful celebrity endorsement. Because I saw the picture of Professor Wole Soyinka in that Amotekun girl. Although I don't know, one newspaper was reporting that whoever abuses the opportunity to be an Amotekun officer, that Shango will strike that person dead. Well, Shango, I guess, is the god of thunder. So, right? He's the god of thunder in Yoruba cosmology. But I guess the bigger point that he's making is that even, volunteers or officials who are involved in that, provision of security at the state level should not abuse their positions. Because we have had reports of abuse in some other states. I think in this regard, Oyo State at a certain point. And I think that the major challenge for the Ogun State government, particularly for the governor, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, is to make sure that they have the wherewithal and that these persons are properly trained, properly conscientized, so that they will know that, they've not been recruited and mobilized as another layer of security officials who will be brutalizing the people of Ogun State. Certainly in Ogun State, there are security challenges, particularly towards the border areas, as has been reported. And we hope that the emergence of this alternative auxiliary security outreach in Ogun State also will serve as some kind of deterrence, some kind of deterrent for people who just want to take the laws into their hands and violate the people's rights, and their right particularly to the dignity of the human person.
I mean, it's the story that stands out for me. I'll just talk about, I think from The Guardian, the front page of The Guardian, that was talking about the Easter period and COVID-19. and spread, and alarms being raised as regards that. People should be very careful this period. There's going to be a lot of traveling. In fact, some people have traveled already. Movement from one part to another to be able to, so that's the story. WHO, Africa CDC warns of COVID-19 surge as Christians mark Easter. There's going to be a lot of moving around, many activities planned up for Easter period this season. And I think people should just be careful out there. Let's not forget that the COVID-19 pandemic is still rife, it's still out there. People are still getting infected by the day. And periods like this, the numbers will only surge because people want to talk to their family members, give them a hug, break every protocol possible and ensure that, they just love up on their family members they've not seen in a while. But COVID-19 is real, it kills, and people should just be careful and most importantly, take all the rightful precautions, wash your hands, wear face mask, ensure social distancing, most importantly. And for me, I'll just quickly talk about the sad reportage on the doctor strike. I think we keep going around in circles as regards the National Association of Resident Doctors, the strike going on, because this ought to have happened long ago. The first time, I think it was in and around this time last year, when COVID-19 started, the doctors, were willing to go on strike because they had not reached some agreements with the federal government, or they needed to get more from the federal government as regards their welfare. But we told them, don't go on strike because it's COVID-19 period. We need you to work this period and all of that. Don't go on strike. Many years down the line, it's quite shocking that nothing has been done. And the tone of even the negotiation, I think it was a doctor himself, Chris Igi, Minister of Labour, did come out to say, agreements have been reached, but if they don't take the agreement, that's not the case. We should not forget that the toll it takes on people is really key. If you don't agree, the point you're saying now, then you don't sign an agreement. It tells doctor in a very, harsh tone. We should not forget that when all of this happens, it affects us. Because doctors are already turning down some patients in some hospitals already. Resident doctors make the bulk of doctors in this country. And when you don't get access to healthcare in a time like this, only God knows what will happen. Even when you have access to healthcare, we still complain, that we don't get enough healthcare. We should still improve our healthcare. I mean, if we could all get access to quality healthcare in this country, I don't see why the reason some people have to travel abroad to go seek medical tourism in the first place. And it just shows us that we need to do more as regards our healthcare system and help bolster the healthcare sector in Nigeria.